The night was heavy with rain. Dark clouds covered the sky, and thunder rolled across the valley. Inside his small wooden house, the human sat alone, reading an old book. The sound of the storm outside was strong, but then another sound came. A knock, slow, weak, almost lost in the rain. He froze. Who could be here at this hour? The nearest town was miles away. Few ever came to this lonely place. He put down his book and listened again. Knock, knock, knock. The sound was real. Someone was at his door. His hand reached for the small lamp on the table. The flame shook, almost afraid of the storm itself. He walked carefully to the door, every step heavy with caution. Something in his chest whispered danger, but also curiosity. He placed his hand on the handle and opened it. There she was. A woman, or at least she looked like one. Tall, slim, with pale glowing skin that seemed almost silver under the rain. Her long dark hair was soaked, sticking to her face. Her eyes, they were not human. Bright, deep, shining with a strange light. Eyes that did not belong to this world. She was breathing hard, her lips trembling. She looked at him as if he was the only hope left in the universe. "Let me in," she whispered, her voice weak but urgent. "Let me stay, human, and I'll give you what no woman can." The human's heart pounded. The words were strange, dangerous. Who was she? Why did she say that? His mind told him to close the door, but his hand did not move. Something about her voice, about her eyes, stopped him. She was hurt. A cut ran across her arm, glowing faintly as if her blood itself was light. She was shaking, cold, and afraid. He stepped back slowly, leaving the door open. She took that as permission and stepped inside. Water dripped from her hair onto the wooden floor. She stood there, shivering, her chest rising and falling as if she had run for miles. The human closed the door. The sound of the storm outside became muffled. But the silence inside was heavier. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice low. She looked at him, eyes sharp yet desperate. For a moment, she did not answer. Then she said, "I cannot tell you, not yet. If I do, you may throw me back into the storm. But if you let me stay, I will protect you. I will give you something no woman of your kind ever could." Her words sent a chill down his spine. Protect him? From what? He had lived here for years without trouble. "I don't need protection," he said firmly. "I need answers." She stepped closer, her wet clothes clinging to her body. The glow from her skin lit the small room in a faint silver light. "Answers will come," she said softly. "But first, I need safety. I am hunted." The word hung in the air. Hunted. By who, or by what? The human turned his head toward the window. The storm raged, but in the distance he thought he saw shadows moving between the trees. Shapes, dark and quick, as if something was searching. His chest tightened. He looked back at her. "You bring danger to my home," he said, her lips curved in a small, almost broken smile. "Danger follows me everywhere, but if you send me away, it will follow you too. You opened the door. You saw me. Now you are part of it." The human felt his blood run cold. His instincts screamed to push her out, lock the door, forget this ever happened. But his eyes, they kept falling into hers. Those strange, glowing eyes that promised both fear and mystery. She sank into the chair near the fire, her body weak, her eyes never leaving him. "Please," she whispered again, "let me stay, I promise. I will give you more than you can imagine." The human stood frozen. His heart beat loud in his ears. Outside, the shadows moved closer. A flash of lightning lit the trees, and for a moment, he saw them clearly. Tall figures, armored, carrying strange weapons, searching, hunting. He turned back to the alien woman in his chair. Her eyes shone with both fear and determination. And in that moment, he realized one thing: if he let her stay, his life would never be the same again. The knock at the door had changed everything. The fire cracked softly, filling the small wooden house with faint warmth. The alien woman sat near it, her skin glowing like silver under the flickering light. Water still dripped from her hair, falling silently on the floor. The human stood across from her, his arms crossed, his mind racing. He wanted answers. She had given him none. Only a strange promise. "Why are they hunting you?" he asked finally, his voice calm but sharp. Her head turned slowly. Those bright, unnatural eyes locked on his. "Because I left them," she said, her tone carrying both fear and defiance. "Who?" she hesitated. For a long time, the only sound was the fire. Then softly she said, "My own kind." The human frowned. He didn't understand. Why would her people hunt her? She seemed weak, injured, not dangerous. "You expect me to believe that?" he asked. "I don't expect belief," she replied. "I expect survival." Her voice was soft, but the words carried weight. She leaned forward, lowering her head slightly. "I ran because they wanted me to be something I refused to be. A weapon, a tool, but I am not their slave. I would rather die than return." The human's jaw tightened. The storm outside grew louder, as if the sky itself listened. "And you came here?" he asked. Her lips curved faintly. "Not here exactly. I came to this world because it is pure, untouched. Humans are simple, honest, dangerous but honest. I thought I could hide among you, but they found me. They always find me." She looked toward the window. Her eyes flickered with fear. The human followed her gaze. The storm raged, but in its shadows, he thought he saw lights again, small red glows between the trees, moving slowly like eyes searching. He took a breath, steadying himself. "You should leave," he said firmly. "This isn't my fight." Her head snapped back to him, her expression sharp. "It became your fight the moment you opened the door." He clenched his fists. She was right. If those hunters came and found her here, they wouldn't just take her. They would kill him too, simply because he helped. He hated it. But deep inside, another feeling stirred. Something he didn't expect. Something dangerous, curiosity. She must have sensed it, because her lips curved into a small, tired smile. "You want to know what I meant," she said softly. "When I told you I would give you what no woman can." The human's chest tightened. He didn't answer, but his silence was enough. She leaned back in the chair, her glowing skin shimmering faintly in the firelight. "I carry knowledge," she whispered. "Power, a bond beyond flesh. If you let me stay, I will share it with you. No human woman could. No human woman would." Her words wrapped around him like the storm. Part of him wanted to push her away, to end this madness. Another part wanted to lean closer, to hear more. But he forced his voice to stay steady. "And if I don't let you stay?" She looked at him with eyes so sharp they pierced him. "Then you will die tonight." Silence filled the room. The fire hissed softly. The human studied her carefully. She wasn't lying. He could feel it in his bones. Something outside was waiting, watching. "You're using me," he said finally. "Yes," she admitted without shame. "But I can use you in ways that help you. I can give you strength, vision, protection. You can send me away and die alone. Or you can let me stay and live with me." Her words were dangerous, almost like a spell. The human stepped closer to the fire, closer to her. He leaned down, staring into her strange glowing eyes. "You're not telling me everything," she smiled faintly. "Of course not. If I told you everything now, you would run. But if you keep me here long enough, you'll want to hear it all." His chest tightened. He hated how she played with him. But he hated something else more, how much he wanted to know. Outside, the storm grew worse. Lightning flashed, and for 1 second, the window lit up with movement, 3 tall figures standing in the rain, looking straight at the house. The human's blood ran cold. The alien woman's eyes met his again. "Do you see?" she whispered. "They are here, and they will not leave until they have me." She stood slowly, her body weak but her eyes fierce. "If you want to survive this night, human, you must let me stay." The fire crackled. The storm roared, and the human knew his choice would decide not only his life, but perhaps the fate of something much greater. The human's heart beat like a drum inside his chest. The fire in the small wooden house flickered, shadows dancing across the walls. Outside, the storm howled, but under the thunder, he heard something worse. Footsteps. Heavy, slow, too many. He moved toward the window, his breath tight. Lightning cracked across the sky, and for a split second, he saw them again. 3 figures, tall, armored. Their eyes glowed red like burning coals. They stood in the storm, unmoving, like predators that had found the scent of prey. "They've found me," the alien woman whispered. Her voice was steady now, though her body was weak. She stood from the chair, her glowing skin casting faint silver light on the walls. "They will not knock this time. They will break through." The human turned sharply toward her. "Then you need to leave, run, before they drag me into your war." Her eyes locked on his, sharp and burning. "If I go, they will kill you anyway. Do you think they will let you live after you gave me shelter? You are already part of this." Her words cut deep. He knew she was right. The hunters outside didn't look like men. They looked like machines in flesh, built for one purpose. The human's fists clenched. He had no weapon strong enough for this fight, just an old hunting rifle by the door. Against armored giants, it was useless. As if reading his fear, the alien woman stepped closer. She raised her hand, trembling but firm, and touched his chest. A faint glow passed from her skin into him, a warmth that spread through his heart. "What are you?" he began, but she silenced him with her eyes. "I told you," she whispered. "I can give you what no woman can. Strength, sight, power. You cannot fight them alone, but with me. You will not be alone." Before he could answer, the first blow hit the door. Boom. The wooden frame shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The human froze, every muscle locked. Boom. Another strike. Louder. The hinges groaned. The alien woman's glowing eyes never left him. "Decide now, human. Let me stay with you, and we fight together. Or watch your door break and die alone." His throat was dry. He wanted to refuse her, to push her away. But the storm outside wasn't just weather anymore, it was war. And he was standing in the middle of it. Crack. The door splintered. A long, dark hand forced through the crack, pulling at the wood. The red glow of alien eyes filled the night just beyond. The human grabbed the rifle from the wall. It was old, rusty, but it was all he had. He aimed at the door, breathing hard, ready to fire the moment they entered. The alien woman stepped beside him, her glowing skin brushing his arm. "Your weapon will not kill them," she said softly, "but I can make your bullets burn brighter." Before he could ask what she meant, she placed her hand on the barrel. A faint silver light spread along the rifle, like fire crawling across metal. The weapon hummed in his grip. The door burst open. The hunters stepped in, towering figures in black armor, their red eyes burning like coals in the dark. Rain poured behind them, the storm screaming through the broken frame. The human pulled the trigger. Boom. The shot exploded like thunder, brighter than lightning. The bullet glowed with silver light, striking the first hunter in the chest. The creature staggered back, roaring in a metallic growl. Smoke hissed from the wound. The alien woman's voice was calm, almost cold. "Aim for the eyes." He fired again. This time, the bullet punched straight through the glowing red eye of the second hunter. The creature screamed, sparks bursting from its skull as it fell. The third hunter rushed forward, faster than he thought possible. Its clawed hand swung toward him, ready to crush his chest. But before it could strike, the alien woman raised her hand. A shield of glowing silver light flared between them. The claws slammed into it, sending ripples of energy across the air. The human stumbled back, his breath ragged. He looked at her. She was weak, shaking, but still standing, holding the shield with all her strength. "You see now," she whispered. Her voice strained. "You needed me. You always did." The last hunter roared, smashing again and again at the glowing shield. Cracks of light spread across it. The alien woman's face twisted in pain. "Finish it," she cried. The human raised the rifle, his hand steady now. He aimed for the burning red eye. He fired. The bullet blazed through the air, striking true. The last hunter fell, its body crashing to the wooden floor. Silence filled the house. Only the storm outside remained, roaring through the broken door. The human lowered the rifle, his chest rising and falling with every breath. His ears rang, his body trembling. The alien woman collapsed to her knees, her strength spent. She looked up at him, her eyes glowing faintly even in exhaustion. "Now," she whispered, "do you understand my promise?" The human stared at her, sweat dripping down his face. For the first time, he realized he was no longer just a man in a lonely house. He was part of something larger, something deadly, and he wasn't sure if he wanted it, or if it had already claimed him. The house smelled of smoke and rain. The wooden floor was wet with water from the storm, and the bodies of the alien hunters lay broken near the door. Their glowing eyes had gone dark, but their presence left a heavy shadow in the room. The human stood with the rifle still in his hands, his breath ragged. His heart was pounding, not just from fear, but from something stranger. The gun in his grip no longer felt like an old hunting weapon. It hummed faintly with the silver light she had given it. He turned his gaze to the alien woman. She was on her knees, weak, her glowing skin dimmer than before. She looked exhausted, as if every drop of energy had been drained to keep him alive. Yet her eyes, those strange burning eyes, still glowed with quiet fire. "Tell me," the human said, his voice sharp but unsteady. "What are you, and what have you done to me?" She lifted her head slowly. Her lips curved into a faint, tired smile. "I told you," she whispered. "I gave you what no woman can, my strength, my bond, my truth." "That's not an answer," he snapped. His voice echoed in the small house. "You're hiding something from me." Her glowing eyes softened. "If I told you everything at once," she said gently, "you would not believe me. You might even kill me." The human's grip on the rifle tightened. Part of him wanted to deny it, but part of him knew she was right. If she had spoken her secrets at the door, he might have slammed it shut. "Then show me," he said. His voice was firm now. "Show me your truth." The alien woman studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Her hand trembled as she raised it, reaching toward his face. "Do not resist," she whispered. Before he could speak, her glowing fingers touched his temple. At once, the world vanished. The human gasped as visions flooded his mind. He was no longer in his house. He was standing in a vast hall of silver towers, beneath a sky filled with strange stars. Her people moved around him, tall, shining, their bodies covered in armor of light. They looked beautiful, powerful, and merciless. He saw her there, among them, younger, her eyes filled with fear as her own kind placed weapons in her hands. They spoke to her in a language he did not understand, but their meaning was clear. She was to be a weapon, not a woman. A tool of war, not a soul of her own. The vision shifted. He saw her running through endless corridors of fire, chased by her own kind. He saw her leap into a ship, wounded and alone, fleeing through the stars. She had chosen exile instead of becoming their slave. Then he saw her eyes, those glowing eyes, turn toward Earth, toward him. The vision broke. the human, staggered back, almost falling. His hands trembled as if he had touched lightning. His chest burned with the weight of what he had seen. He looked at her in shock. You betrayed your own kind." Her voice was calm, though her body was weak. "No, I freed myself from them. I chose not to be their weapon. That is why they hunt me. That is why I came here. And why me?" His voice was sharp, angry. "Why my door? Why my life?" Her glowing eyes locked onto his, and in them he saw something raw, something almost human. "Because you are different," she whispered. "Your kind does not understand the strength you carry, but I saw it in you, human. A fire, a heart that does not bow. I chose you because you would not throw me away, even when you feared me." The human felt his chest tighten. Her words pierced him, but he hated how much they rang true. "Think I want this?" he said bitterly, pointing at the broken bodies on the floor. "You think I asked for any of this?" Her eyes glistened, but she did not look away. "No, you did not ask for it. Neither did I, but now we are bound by it, and together we may survive it." The storm outside roared, shaking the broken door. He felt the weight of her gaze, the truth she had shown him. She was hunted, she was dangerous, but she was also real. More real than any woman he had ever known. He lowered the rifle slowly, his hand still trembling. "If I let you stay, what happens to me?" Her lips curved into a small, tired smile. "You will never be the same again." Her eyes burned, brighter in that moment, reflecting the firelight. And in them, the human saw not just danger, but something deeper. Something that could destroy him, or save him. The truth in her eyes was not just her past. It was a promise, and promises, he knew, were chains. The house was broken. Rain poured in through the shattered door, dripping onto the floorboards. The dead hunters lay still, their armored bodies heavy as stone. The storm outside did not calm. It roared like the sky itself was warning him of what was coming next. The human stood near the fire, his hands gripping the rifle, his mind spinning with the vision she had forced into him. He had seen her truth. He had felt her pain. She was not lying. Her people had made her into a weapon, and she had escaped them. But now she had brought their war to his home. Behind him, the alien woman sat weakly against the wall. Her glowing skin was dimmer than before, but her eyes still burned with a light that was not human. She looked exhausted, yet there was still power in her. "You see now," she whispered softly. "I told you the truth. I cannot go back to them. If you send me away, they will kill me, and you." The human turned sharply, his voice heavy. "With anger, you've given me no choice. You forced your war into my home. You forced yourself into my life." Her lips curved into a faint, broken smile. "And yet, you kept me here. You could have closed the door, but you didn't." The words cut deeper than he wanted to admit. She was right. From the very first moment, he had chosen curiosity over fear. He could have pushed her away, but something in her eyes had stopped him. He hated that truth. He stepped closer to her, the rifle heavy in his hand. "Tell me what you really want from me," he said firmly. Her eyes locked onto his. For a moment, there was only silence. Then she said, "I want a bond, a link. If I stay alone, I will die. If you stay alone, you will die. But together, we may live." He frowned. "A bond?" She nodded, her eyes glowing faintly. "Not like the bonds your kind knows. Deeper, stronger, a bond of mind and soul. If I share it with you, my strength becomes yours. My enemies become yours too. But once it is done, there is no going back." Her words hung in the air like a blade. The human felt his throat tighten. He understood now what she had met at the door. "I'll give you what no woman can." It wasn't just protection. It wasn't just power. It was something greater, and far more dangerous. Outside, thunder shook the ground. He looked through the broken door and saw more faint red lights in the distance. More hunters. They were coming, you see, she whispered, her voice weak but certain. They will not stop. You must decide now. Bind with me, or face them alone. His heart raced. He had fought once and survived, but only because of her. Without her light, without her strange power, he would have been dead already. But if he accepted her bond, he would no longer be just himself. He would carry part of her inside him. Dangerous thought entered his mind. What if she is lying? What if the bond is a trap? He looked at her again. She was watching him closely, her breathing shallow, her skin faintly glowing like the dying embers of fire. She looked fragile, but her eyes told a different story. Her eyes promised survival. The human lowered the rifle. His voice was steady, but cold. If I accept, what happens to me? She leaned closer, her voice barely a whisper. You will feel me inside you. You will see through my eyes. You will carry my strength, but also my pain. And once it is done, you can never break it. He felt his chest tighten. The thought of her inside his mind was terrifying, and yet, in a strange way, tempting. He would no longer be alone in the dark. The storm grew louder. The red lights outside drew closer. He had no more time. She reached out her trembling hand, glowing faintly in the firelight. Choose, human. Let me stay inside your mind, or let them tear us apart. The human stared at her hand. His fingers twitched, his breath uneven. This was not just a choice of survival. This was the choice that would bind his life to hers. Forever. Finally, he stepped forward. His hand closed over hers. At once, silver light burst between their fingers, rushing up his arm, burning through his chest. His vision blurred. He gasped as her voice filled his mind, not spoken, but inside. Him, you chose me, her voice whispered in his head. Now we are one. The fire hissed, the storm screamed, and the hunters outside moved closer, their glowing eyes cutting through the night. The night of choices was over. His decision had been made, and nothing would ever be the same. The silver light still burned inside him. It pulsed through his chest, his arms, even his eyes. The human staggered back, gripping the edge of the table. His heart was racing, but it wasn't only his heartbeat. He could feel hers too. Her voice was in his head. Not spoken, but alive within him. We are bound now. Do not resist, he gasped, pressing a hand to his temple. The bond was real. Too real. He could feel her thoughts brushing against his own, her fear, her exhaustion, and something deeper he could not name. Outside, the storm raged. More red eyes flickered in the darkness, closing in on the broken house. The hunters were coming. The alien woman pushed herself up, her body weak, her skin still glowing faintly. But now she stood straighter than before. The bond had given her new strength, and through it, he felt that same strength pouring into him. You feel it, she said softly, though her lips barely moved. My power inside you. Together we can face them. The human's jaw clenched. He hated how right she was. Without her, he would already be dead. But with her inside his mind, every breath felt heavier, every thought no longer his alone. A loud crash shook the house. One of the hunters slammed against the broken doorframe, forcing its way inside. Another followed, then another. 6 this time. Larger, stronger, their red eyes burning hotter in the dark. The human raised his rifle. It hummed with silver fire, alive in his grip. The alien woman stepped beside him, her hand glowing. We strike as one, her voice echoed in his head. First hunter charged, the human fired. The bullet exploded with silver light, burning through armor and bone. The creature collapsed, smoke rising from its chest, but even as it fell, 2 more rushed in. One swung its claws toward him. He dodged faster than he ever had before. Her reflexes were as now. He turned the rifle and fired again, blasting. Second hunter through the eye. The alien woman raised her hands, summoning a silver shield that blocked a strike aimed at his back. But he felt the pain in her arms as if it were his own. "I share my power," her voice echoed, "but I also share my wounds." The fight was brutal. Together they moved like one. He shot, she shielded. She pushed, he struck. Hunters fell one by one, floor shaking under their heavy bodies. But then, something changed. As the last hunter fell, the human staggered. A sharp, stabbing pain cut through his chest. He gasped, clutching his ribs. Blood ran down his side, though no claws had touched him. He turned his head sharply toward her. She was still standing, her hand pressed to her stomach, a wound glowing with silver blood. Through the bond, her injury had become his. His eyes widened. With fury, "You didn't tell me this," he shouted. Her glowing eyes flickered. She looked at him, guilt flashing in her face. "If I had told you, you would not have accepted. You betrayed me," he growled, his breath ragged. "I saved you," she shot back, her voice sharp now. "Without me, you would be dead already. You think you carry my pain? Yes, but you carry my strength too. That is the price of survival." The human staggered, rage burning in his chest. She had given him no choice. She had tied her life to his, dragging him into her war with a bond that shared not only power but suffering. He pointed the rifle at her. For a moment, silence filled. The broken house, broken only by the sound of the storm. Her eyes did not flinch. She stared straight at him, calm but fierce. "Kill me, and you kill yourself too. That is the truth of the bond. Our blood is one now, betrayal or not, human. We are bound until the end." His finger trembled on the trigger. Sweat dripped down his face. He wanted to pull it. He wanted to end this nightmare, but his body would not move. The bond pulsed. Inside him, whispering her heartbeat against his own. Outside, the storm roared louder. In the distance, more red eyes lit the forest. Dozens this time. Hundreds. The hunters were coming in force. The alien woman's voice echoed in his skull. "You can hate me, human. You can curse me. But if you want to live through this night, you will still need me." The human lowered the rifle slowly, his jaw tight with rage and fear. He knew then that survival had chained him to her. Blood bound them, and betrayal had sealed it. The storm was not slowing. The sky above cracked with endless thunder, lightning flashing across the valley. The forest outside glowed red, not from fire, but from the eyes of countless hunters moving closer. Their steps shook the ground like a marching army. Inside the broken house, the human leaned against the wall, gripping his glowing rifle. Blood stained his shirt. His chest burned from wounds that were not only his own. The alien woman sat across from him, her silver skin dim, her breath heavy. The bond between them pulsed like a chain of fire. He hated it. And yet, without it, he would already be dead. Her glowing eyes lifted to meet his. Even through exhaustion, they shone with fierce light. "They are coming," she whispered. "All of them. They will not stop. If they take me, they will destroy this world to keep me hidden." The human's jaw clenched. "You dragged me into this. You made me your prisoner." Her lips curved faintly, though her eyes softened. "Not prisoner, partner. You think I used you, but the truth is, I chose you." He stepped closer, anger burning in his chest. "Why me?" Her gaze did not break. "Because when you opened the door, you looked at me not with greed, not with cruelty, but with hesitation. That hesitation saved me. Any other human might have thrown me back into the storm. But you gave me a chance." Her words cut deep. He wanted to deny them, but he couldn't. Something in him had stopped him that night. And now that single moment had changed everything. Outside, the hunters gathered at the edge of the forest. Hundreds of glowing red eyes stared at the broken house. The ground trembled with their march. The alien woman pushed herself up, swaying but standing tall. This is the end. They will come for me with all their force. If you want to live, you must run. The humans stared at her in disbelief. Run? After binding me to you? After making your fight mine? Her glowing eyes softened again, and for the first time he saw something he hadn't seen before: guilt. I cannot break the bond, but I can shield you from them if you escape. My life for yours. He stepped closer, his voice sharp. You think I'll leave you here to die? She lowered her head. It is the only way. The human gritted his teeth. His chest ached with pain and fury. She had tied his fate to hers, betrayed him with silence, and yet now she was ready to sacrifice herself for him. It made no sense. And still, in her glowing eyes, he saw the truth. She would die for him, but he was no coward. He raised the rifle, its silver light glowing brighter with every breath. No, he said firmly. If you stay, I stay. If you fight, I fight. We end this together. For the first time, she looked at him not as a shield, not as a shoe, but as something more. Her lips trembled. You mean it? He nodded once. I mean it. The bond pulsed inside them, stronger than before. He felt her strength flood into him, her heartbeat racing with his, her fear and courage mixing with his own. They were no longer two separate beings. They were one. The hunters roared, charging through the storm. The ground shook as they rushed from the forest. The alien woman's voice echoed in his mind. Then let them come. The human stood in the doorway of his broken home, rifle blazing with silver fire. The alien woman stood beside him, her hands glowing with shields of light. The storm screamed overhead as the army of hunters closed in. The first wave hit. He fired, bullets exploding like stars, tearing through armor. She raised her shield, blocking claws and blades, each strike shaking the air like thunder. Together, they fought not man and alien, but one being bound by choice and chain. Bodies fell. The storm grew darker, but still more hunters came. Human strength faltered, but her voice inside him whispered, Hold on. I am with you. And through her he did. They fought until the house was no more, until the floor was covered in shattered bodies, until the storm itself seemed to bend around. Their battle died at last. Silence fell. The hunters lay broken. Their red eyes had gone dark. The human dropped to his knees, his chest burning, his breath ragged. She fell beside him, her glowing skin dimming almost to nothing. He turned his head, meeting her eyes. For once, they were soft, vulnerable. Let me stay, human, she whispered, her voice weak but filled with something more than desperation now. Not because I need your shelter, not because I need your strength, but because I chose you. His chest ached. His vision blurred, but he managed a faint smile. Then stay. She smiled back, her hand trembling as it reached for his. Their fingers touched, the bond pulsing faintly between them. And in that broken house, under the endless storm, human and alien lay side by side, bound by blood, by betrayal, and by a promise that no other woman could ever give.